Hello, and welcome to Zap the Gender Pay Gap, the podcast series where we expose the elephant in the room. The elephant's name, the gender pay gap. I am coming to you from Memphis, Tennessee, located on the banks of the mighty Mississippi River. Nestled in the southwest corner of the state, Memphis is home to the blues, barbecue, and so much more. I am your host, Gwendolyn Tucker.
Thank you so very much for joining me for this episode of Zap the Gender Pay Gap. I am your host, Gwendolyn Tucker. Look for me on Apple, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. Please like, subscribe, and share. I had the most delightful conversation with our friend Lily. She had been heavy on my mind, so I reached out to see how she was doing. When she answered the phone, she had a big smile on her voice and said, "Oh, never guess what?" And I said, "What?" She said, "I've been listening to your podcast." I said, "Oh, thank you." Then she said, "Didn't know I had an elephant in my room. Do you think you can help me increase my pension?" We both had a big laugh and carried on from there. I am so thankful for people like her and like you who support my efforts to get the message out about this elephant in the room that manages to carry away a large portion of a woman's pay. And she doesn't even know it. It reduces her pay today and the benefits she receives after leaving the workforce. Women, when it comes to pay, we're being left behind. And some of us don't even know it. Do you remember the book Left Behind? Written by Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins, it was published in 1995 and was the first book in what turned out to be a series with 16 books and 4 movies. You've probably seen the movie or read one of the books. It's a Christian fiction about the end times. Although the Left Behind, although it was first published in 1995, I guess I was late to the game because I didn't start reading the series until 2000. I got into the habit of traveling with a book during my days in audit. Being on a plane and waiting in the airport for hours upon hours with nothing to do was boring. So I took up reading, which served as a great way to pass time. I'm a fan of printed books, not digital books. It must have something to do with my learning style. You see, I'm a visual learner, and my second is kinesthetic or tactile. I usually read a current business book, or I'd read one on self help or one by a favorite author who was writing about faith. Fiction was usually not my first choice, so it often came in dead last. Most often, I'd carry 2 books with me in case I finished one mid trip. But this time, I finished my book and went searching during a layover in Dallas. I looked and looked and looked until my eyes landed upon the book Left Behind. Hmm, curious. Now, I have a method to my madness on how I select which book to buy. I usually don't like buying books that I'm not going to read. So, first I read the back cover. If that intrigues me, then I read the inside flap of the front cover. Still interested? Then the table of contents. If the author has captured my attention, I read the introduction. Usually, if I get that far, I'm a goner. It won't be long before the cashier hears cha-ching and the book is on its way home with me. That's the way it was when I picked up the book Left Behind. By the time I landed in Memphis, I had read 100 pages. I had 100 pages under my belt. After unpacking my bags, I stayed up well into the night. By the time I settled down for bed, guess how many pages I had read? Almost 300. I know. Needless to say, it captured my attention. Anywho, you're probably saying, Gwendolyn, tell me, what does any of this have to do with the gender pay gap? You already know my response. What is it? I'm glad you asked. Yes, you know me quite well, don't you? I worked with a young lady who would teasingly say when someone went on and on and on, she'd say, "So, what's the point?" Which meant, "What's the point?" Again, I say, "I'm glad you asked." The point is that when it comes to pay, women are left behind. Women are left behind earning 82 cents compared to every dollar men earn. Which would you prefer, 82 cents or the dollar? You don't have to ask me. You know I want the whole dollar. I don't want this elephant biting off any part of my payday, and definitely not 18% of it. I want to take home all of it. I want all of it to go home with me. Would you say you would too? Now, it is true that for some women in the workforce, their pay gap is not 18%. For female managers, they earn 90 cents on the dollar on average, or 10% less than their male counterparts. Better, but not good enough. According to a recent survey that I shared in a previous episode, women who are college graduates enter the workforce 6.5% behind men who are college graduates. Let that sink in. Out of college, women earn almost 7% on average less than what men earn who are graduating from college. What about you? How much is this elephant costing you? How much of your money is going up the elephant's snout that should be deposited into your bank account? When was the last time you got a 10% raise? What about a 7% raise? Both of those sound pretty good to me. How does that sound to you? Would having more money than month help alleviate some of your stress and pressure? Do I hear a resounding yes? I thought so. Speaking of raises, according to a recent article that I read in the Memphis Business Journal, as the job market has softened, the pay picture is evolving, but it says that companies are still budgeting strong raises for 2024. Companies are still budgeting strong raises for 2024. That sounds like good news, huh? The writer goes on to say the battle for talent isn't as tense as it was a year ago, but experts say that many workers get this, are planning to ask for raises. What about you? Are you looking to raise your pay? If so, I'm opening up 3 new one-on-one coaching slots to show ambitious female professionals how to raise their pay in the next 90 days. Message me back if you're interested in hearing more. Women, you work hard for your money. Let me show you how to take home all of it. Reach out to me at GwendolynJTucker.com. Thank you so very much for joining me today. It's pretty chilly here in Memphis, so if you're in the Memphis area, bundle up and stay warm. See you here next Wednesday at noon Central Standard Time for the next episode of Zap, the Gender Pay Gap. Until then, stay warm and well.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of Zap, the Gender Pay Gap. Please rate, review, and subscribe to or follow me wherever you get your favorite podcast. I am your host, Gwendolyn Tucker. Thanks so much for listening. See you next time.